Nintendo. We're going to be doing any NMG. I've got Squibbins with me on commentary.
Hello.
I've been under the weather the last couple days, and Squibs was able to step in, so thanks for that.
No problem. Though I'm starting to feel a little sick myself now, so...
Alright, well, let's get started. Gonna enter a name here. And then the very first thing that's very important is you need to select speed 1, or you're gonna have a real bad time. And we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so, I realize I should be talking. So the beginning of this, one of the first things we have to do is get out of this fight that the game starts you in at the start. Conveniently, the SNES version starts you with the spellbook in your inventory, and we can use that to cast a help spell. And when you cast a help spell, it takes you back to the beginning of the game, where Lord British is, but it doesn't reset anything else. It will revive your characters and heal them. Right now we're just getting any free items in the castle. Everything in this open castle is not considered stolen. This game does have a system for like karma, which includes stealing things, killing people, lying to children. They all have different sort of effects on your karma system, and you will have to have a certain amount of karma to beat the game. So that's something that's considered during the run.
Sorry, I just had some stuff fall in my office here.
That's okay. Basically, what cloudyshoe is doing here is, very at the beginning of the game, one of the first things you want to do is take some of the, basically take the armor off your party members so that we can sell it, because it's worth a lot more money and they're not going to need it. In fact, we don't want them to have it at all. We also take the swamp boots with the green boots that you saw. Those make you immune to swamp tiles, which effectively poison you. So it's going to be very useful as well. We play the game in Japanese because the load times between screens are faster, and that seems to be the only difference. But that actually makes up quite a bit of time save across the run. So the first thing we do is we sell the equipment that we just unequipped and some of the stuff we started with, and now we're going to buy 5, well, I guess here it's 3 powder kegs and a empty pot. Now we need the empty pot for a quest later, in which we craft a certain flying machine that we'll see. So those are a couple of things that we're going to have to get there. The powder kegs are used to blow open locked doors. So in this game you actually can find keys to unlock doors, or actually destroy the door with explosives, which is actually a pretty cool thing. So here, this child has one of the main quest items. I'll talk about those in a second, but basically, they tell you that you need to get permission from the parents to get the item from them. We lie that we've gotten permission to the parents, which drops our karma by a lot. It drops it by 10, and we need 80 to beat the game, so that puts us 65 here. I'll explain what those are in a second, but we're buying a boat here, so this is a key item. We need the boat to get to several places in the game. So, and that's why we sold a bunch of our armor at the start. So some of the items that we need. You're going to see us collecting these runes. We just got one there. We got one from the child. These runes are used to unlock the 8 shrines in the game. The 8 shrines will give us the 8 moonstones, and those are required to beat the game. We need 8 moonstones to insert into what we find later is the vortex cube, and there's a couple other items we'll need that I'll talk about when we get there, but these are crucial to beating the game, so we'll need to get the 8 runes. So Cloudy here is buying 39 spatter silk, and then the unlock spell. You see that he is stealing black potions along the way. The black potions make you invisible. That's going to be a key thing that we absolutely will need. If done right, this run is completely passive, and you will not, well, and if luck plays into it, because there's a couple areas where that plays in for certain, you will absolutely want to be invisible during the run. So yeah, we should be able to do it passively. cloudyshoe's moving on to get the second spell now. Please interrupt me at any point, cloudyshoe. I'll talk over the whole thing.
That's fine, but I just want to note that in just a moment here, we're going to have some full screen flashing for a bit.
Good call. So yes, when we get poisoned, the screen will flash like this. It's actually quite obnoxious. This won't last very long, but it is for probably like 30 seconds to a minute of the run. A little less maybe. So your cloudyshoe stole an invisibility ring, another potion for invisibility, and then bought the Dispel Field spell. You only need 2 spells to beat the game, not including the help spell that you start with. The Dispel Field will allow them to remove blockers in the world in the form of electric fields, and the unlock spell will do exactly what we just saw, which is help unlock magically locked doors, which cannot be exploded open.
We have recently figured out how not to need the unlock spell, but it's not faster.
Oh yes, yeah. It turns out that the SNES version has an interesting secret passage that does not exist in the PC version that can remove one of the spells, but it actually isn't any quicker. So we haven't found a way to make it quicker yet. cloudyshoe did just get one of the key items, a glass sword that's required. You can find it in the tombs here for free. Oh no! cloudyshoe's friends, who have no armor to protect them, have somehow mysteriously died in the catacombs. However, will that affect the run? It won't. The Avatar is a cruel, cruel party member. Never party with the Avatar. You will die. But their ghosts get to live on and follow us along.
But the Avatar is the embodiment of virtue, so...
Yes, yes, that's true. I suppose for anyone who doesn't know what the Ultima series is, it's quite a large series. Oh, this is no good. I will hush for a moment as cloudyshoe gets through this rather precarious predicament.
Yeah, I turned like a tile too early.
So yes, one of the aspects of the game, this is a long series of games. There were 9 in the main series and several in the expanded series. Some people may know this from the Ultima Online game as well. This is the 6th in the series. At this point, you are known as the Avatar. You have basically become the embodiment of virtue. So you should not be lying to children, which we've done, breaking and entering, which we're doing now, stealing, which we've done, killing your party members, which we've also done. None of these should be things you're doing, but...
Though you could also make the argument that as the embodiment of virtue, whatever you do is virtuous by definition.
Absolutely. And the speedrun avatar is all about saving the world as fast as possible, which in... maybe the harm they cause along the way will prevent quite a bit more harm if they had done it slow. So, you can just look at it that way. So, cloudyshoe's entering Sutek's castle now, his first use of the invisibility. Invisibility is really, really scary in this game. So, invisibility comes in the form of 2 things, and cloudyshoe just saved there. You'll see that a few times in the run for safety saves. Every time you take a step, your invisibility has a chance to wear off. You have no control over that. So if you use a potion, it can last the rest of the run or wear off 1 step later, and there's no way to control it. Rings are a little better because you can take the ring off, so you can use it, and as soon as you don't need it, take the ring off again. However, for the purposes of speedrunning, that's a little slow, so you just rely on luck for it not to break. Which is also why cloudyshoe has gotten many, many, many invisibility items, just in case they break. And there's the first break.
Yeah, if they break in the right spot, then you can just reapply something else. Otherwise, you just have to reset and reload.
So cloudyshoe has gone into Sutek's castle here to find that there is a dead body in the bottom of the catacombs below the castle, which contains the balloon plans. The balloon plans are required to beat the game. There's one location in which you need to go to with the balloon that you would need to fly to, and there's the second invisibility that is worn off.
Uh-oh. I might need to go a tile up here to reapply. Save.
Let's hope it does not continue.
We've got
So yeah.
one more.
I hope. Well, you have the ring too.
No, the ring was the first thing.
Oh no, never mind. So yes, this is one of the 3 gargoyle shrines. These are required to unlock a password needed to beat the game. So you need the balloon to talk to the Shrine of Singularity, but to talk to the Shrine of Singularity, you need the password. And the password comes from these 3 gargoyle shrines. They're relatively short. They mostly possess different challenges to the player in the game. This is the Shrine of Control, in which there's a puzzle challenge that you need to complete to get through. The one we just saw was the Shrine of Diligence, in which it is mostly a sort of maze that you need to navigate. And then the last one we will see is Shrine of Passion, which is mostly a trial by like every status effect in the game. So yes, this was a PC game originally. It was ported to the SNES. It was ported to the Super Famicom. Then later reported. So this was an English PC game that was then ported to Japanese Super Famicom, which was then reported back to English. So this is the Japanese version, but the English version actually has even less features than this one, and messed up and some bad translation. So this is Shrine of Passion, which is the last one. Here, basically, it's just getting the last portion of the password, which is necessary, as I said, to talk to the Shrine of Singularity. And at this point, we will begin to get our first shrine cleared. So using one of those runes, one of those 8 runes we needed, cloudyshoe has opened one of the shrines. This does a few things in the game. Oh, you want to speak?
Oh, I was just gonna say we are now at the point where invisibility does not matter.
Ah, yes, that's a good point. Everything from this point on should be clear sailing in terms of combat. There's a rune there, for instance. When you clear a shrine, you will gain 10 karma for only if you meditate at the shrine afterwards. Which we carefully only meditate at one of the 2 shrines at the beginning, because we only need 75 to do one of the starting final quests. And then when we do that quest, it will give us another 5, which will put us at 80. So we get the 80 that we need. So there is a fine number of like trying to get our karma in the game. In single player, there is a way to soft lock the game by basically doing enough bad deeds that you cannot gain your karma back. There is not an infinite way to get karma without doing some exploits. There are exploits you can do. So one of the things cloudyshoe here is this is part of the balloon quest to get through the rest of the balloon. So you need to talk to Arbith here to take the spider silk we bought at the beginning to make spider silk thread. Though to do that, they won't talk to you unless you've talked to Thindle first. Thindle was the character we just talked to in the other building. cloudyshoe's bearing one of the moonstones. So when you clear a shrine, like I said, you can use it to gain karma back, but it also gives you one of those moonstones that you need to beat the game. You'll see there's 2 different color moon gates here. That's what we call those warps that you're seeing. There's a red one and a blue one. The blue ones are from moonstones. They're either planted or related to moonstones. You can bury a moonstone to make a moon gate. There's a whole complex series of things with moons. But yeah, you can use it to work, basically. The red one is one that you place, and depending on where you place it around you, depends on where you warp in the game. There's 25 locations you can warp to. cloudyshoe is now doing a series of quests in which we are looking for another rune by talking to a lot of townsmen. First we talked to Antonio, who said they gave it to William. We just talked to William in the field. William says, I think Arendir has it. They don't think. They actually said they gave it to him 2 weeks ago. So you go and talk to Arendir. Where's the rune? Rune's like, oh, Arendir's like, well, I give the rune to Connor. Like, Connor Starfalcon. What a name, by the way. So we talked to Connor Starfalcon, who now says they give the rune to Charlotte. It's like, well, that's not super fortunate, but it is somewhat fortunate because we need to talk to Charlotte for another quest. So we talk to Charlotte. Not only do we talk about the rune, she says she give it a Dunbar, but she also crafts the spider silk cloth from the spider silk thread we got earlier. So now we come in here, we can talk to Dunbar, and luckily they said they gave it to Antonio a few moments ago, who is sitting right there. The person who said they gave it to William had it the whole time. So now we have gone to the city of U, so that you bounce around. This is a very large open world. You can do this in any order, by the way. There's a lot of questing and sort of finding stuff. For instance, that potted plant they just searched had the Rune of Justice. You learn that through dialogue, talking to the characters, solving riddles, sort of trying to figure it out. Like, a lot of the game is talking to characters, reading through the dialogue, understanding the, like, history and all the little intricacies. So yeah, that's like how you kind of learn about the runes, but you do it almost in any order you want. So now we're talking to Big Ben, who doesn't like you very much, but they will sell you a log. So now we have a log. Who doesn't want to carry around a giant log?
And Big Ben is one of the reasons that routing is important, because they spend about 12 hours a day eating a turkey leg.
Ah, that's a good call out too. So yeah, this game has day-night cycles. And not only does it have day-night cycles, but the NPCs actually move around. So they have schedules. And a lot of the run is based around when the NPCs will be where we need them to be. So part of what you see cloudyshoe here doing, walking way up to the north, and then off to the side and way back down, this is adding extra steps so that we can guarantee that the NPC will be in this house when we enter it. Otherwise, they will be somewhere else, which is inconvenient for us. So there's a lot of that in the run. The run is very step-metered. For every one step you take, 1 minute of in-game time passes. It's actually slightly different than the PC. In the PC, it's every 2 steps you take, so it's half a minute for every step.
I believe that NPC we just talked to would also be eating dinner.
Yes, that's true. There's a lot of time spent eating in this game. Hours upon hours for some of the characters. That character we did talk to, though, did give us the balloon bag from the silk cloth we got. We just used the inn there. That was an inn to sleep. That sort of just warps us ahead in time to the next day. That helps us reset all the NPC schedules and gets us back in time. So no matter how much time we've lost, we can get everything back online. And plus the run is going so fast that we will need to do that so that to guarantee that the NPCs are where we need them to be. You just saw us use Sherry the mouse. Sherry is actually an item in this game that you can control to be the mouse. However, she is an actual party member in the PC version. She has dialogue in this. You give her a piece of cheese at the beginning, she'll join your party, and you can use her to go through mouse holes. In this particular case, the mouse hole had the Rune of Valor in it.
And you'll also notice that she resurrected our party members.
Yes! I always forget about that glitch. So there's an interesting glitch with Sherry in which she can do this strange bug. It's only in the SNES version that we've seen, in which all your party members will just miraculously be rezzed when you use her in a particular area. So, yep, everybody's back. No harm done, right? Right, party? Nobody minded being blown up by an explosive earlier. Certainly not on purpose. So we're talking to Julia now. Julia will craft so we just took the log to the sawmill. The sawmill turned it into boards for us. We then talked to Julia, who will craft that into some pan pipes. We're going to use the pan pipes to play a song. We're going to learn the song from this character we just had join our party here. This is Gweno. So you see the two characters who look identical. They are actually husband and wife in this game. So we're talking to Selganor now about the rune. They say, hey, you need to have some pan pipes and learn a song. Conveniently, we have the pan pipes. And we can learn the song. Song of Stones.
You have to be careful here, because if you mispress, you can play it again.
Yeah, and it's quite long. It's not super long. But for this game, for the speedrun, because it goes so quickly, it feels long. This game is probably a 40 to 50 hour game for most people in casual play. The speedrun reduces it to less minutes. Because it's open world, you can do anything in any order, and as long as you know where everything is, we can go through it quite quickly. So now we have that. We're going to get the last part of the balloon. The whole purpose of this game was actually to just get a balloon. The avatar just wanted to be a hot air balloonist, so we talked to her, we showed her balloon plans, and she gives us the basket for a mere 300 gold.
And it turns out that her father had designed the balloon, which, if you remember where we found the balloon plans, is not good news.
No. Turns out the father was the dead body we found. I don't think we say anything about that in this version. I believe you can tell her in the PC, though. So here, we've entered the Gargoyle Lands, which is another area of the world in which the gargoyles reside. It's kind of like a weird underworld, the other side of the world, sort of, in this case. We need to learn the gargoyle language, though. So we're going to talk to Captain John to get the gargoyle language. This is one of the requirements for the game, the Gargish text. Once we've got that, we can do a series of things where we talk to Valkadesh, who will then tell us to surrender to Draxonomicon. Talk to Drax, they will surrender. We can then talk to Nax, who will then tell us to talk to the Lens Crafter. So it's going to be a series of sort of... It's not really fetch quests, it's definitely a dialogue chain quest.
Oh, and there's some stealing in there too.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, this area is quite dangerous, though, before you actually surrender to Drax.
And because it's a marathon run, we're going to play the best music in the game.
Bone music. So yeah, here, if you don't talk to Drax, the gargoyles that are not dialogue givers are aggressive. So we haven't done that yet. So there are aggressive gargoyles, but it shouldn't be too bad. They spawn in certain spots. We can avoid those spawns. cloudyshoe just stole the Gargish broken lens from the Gargoyle Museum. So we literally just break into their lands, steal their like precious artifact from their museum, but then immediately surrender. They don't know we have the broken lens though. We need this to craft the full lens. So once we've surrendered to Drax there, we can now talk to Nax. We need this because the Lens Crafter will not talk to us unless we know about Nax. So all we had to do is learn Nax's name. And then we go to the Lens Crafter, who will fix the broken lens that's been sitting in the Gargoyle Museum. Time is getting pretty tight here, huh?
Yes, it is. And we're good.
Okay. So this character will go to sleep practically as soon as that circle hits the point that it's at. So this was one more step, and basically the character would have been gone. And we would have needed to sleep to catch up time.
Yeah, which I've practiced, but it loses a good 30 seconds or so.
So we're finally at the Shrine of Singularity. This is what the password that we learned earlier was. We cast a couple dispel fields, get rid of the sleep field, get rid of the electric field, walk through the fire field, doesn't really matter, it's not going to kill us, and talk to the magic giant Grey Dorito on the ground. And then cast Help. Interesting aspect of the Help spell. As I said earlier, at the very, very beginning of the run we used it, it'll take you back to the beginning game, but it also, if and only if it is nighttime, it will bring you back to somewhere between 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning. And that somewhere is basically it switches the hour to 8, but whatever minute it was in the game does not change. So cloudyshoe is going to go around and do the cleansing of the rest of the shrines that we haven't cleansed. We've cleansed 2 of them, now we've cleansed 3, so there are 8 total. This is basically just a quick warp. The reason we surrender to the gargoyles first is because that makes it so much easier. There's gargoyles at every single one of the shrines. Now that we've surrendered to them, they will no longer attack us, which makes this a lot easier. Otherwise, we'd need a lot more invisibility, especially since we have a full party now. That is partially why we also kill off the teammates earlier. We don't want to try and give invisibility to the entire team, so it's much easier if they're all dead.
Honestly, if we had to do this with the gargoyles around, we'd probably just kill our team again.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, gremlins, no.
Oh, no gremlins. This could be messy. See, these gremlins are a random spawn, and the problem with the gremlins, they're not hard. But when you get into combat with the gremlins, not only is it slow, but your teammates want to start attacking the gargoyles, which then can cause all sorts of chaos.
There we go.
Thankfully, cloudyshoe got a moongate down fast enough that that was not a worry. So now we're going to go to another castle, Stonegate. This was the castle that was pretty important in Ultima 5. It's now basically occupied by a family of Cyclopses now. Basically 2 Cyclopses and a human child who was adopted by the Cyclopses. Here you'll find the Vortex Cube, which is one of the key items needed to beat the game. So we need the 8 Moonstones in the Vortex Cube and the 2 lenses. Those are effectively the items we need. There's a lot of items around the other stuff that you need to actually collect to get to those items, but those are the key items. 2 lenses, the Vortex Cube filled with the 8 Moonstones. And why do we need that? Well, we're going to read a book. The whole game is about reading a book. It's a very important book. Well, actually, we're going to force someone else to read the book. We're not going to read the book.
It is called the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom, so...
It's true. The Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. So yes, this is actually an interesting part of the plot of this game. It's very hard to decide to decipher when you're playing. It's not like there's some ultimate bad guy you need to defeat, and here's the ultimate evil, defeat the evil. Effectively, there's like sort of a war between the humans and gargoyles. They don't like each other. The humans view the gargoyles as savages. The gargoyles view the humans as savages. So they basically are against each other. And suddenly the gargoyles have taken up assaulting all the shrines, and you're trying to figure out why, what's going on. So cloudyshoe's getting the human lens now, the last part. We're flying a little far. This is just to change the time so we can guarantee the lens crafter is in the exact right spot that we want them to be. So the ultimate goal of this game is not to defeat some evil. It is simply to basically try and unite the 2 groups. So what we've been doing the whole time is sort of learning about the different groups, learning, like, you know, what is it that would unite them. And we find that, like, one of the big reasons that people are warring is there's this thing called the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom, which we brought into the world in Ultima 4, but we learn we need to banish. Time is about to come up now. And that's it. It's time.
And then thanks. Here we've got the final cutscene. So, Lord British shows up. He's pretty mad. Says, hey, you stole my book or whatever. And so we shove a lens into his hands and say, just a sec. And the gargoyles show up. They're real mad. So we, throw a lens at them. And we say, take a look. It's in a book. A Reading Rainbow. And it tells them to get along, and they do.
Until the next game.
And that is Ultima 6.